The term Archie Sonic refers to the graphic novel version of Sonic published by Archie Comics. This entity of Sonic is vastly different from the games, due to it following the storyline of the Saturday morning cartoon from 1993. Archie Sonic is regarded as not only the most broken Sonic character, but one of the most broken fictional characters ever. With that being said, most people would consider Archie Sonic way more powerful than his video game counterpart. But what does Ian Flynn think about this? For those who don't know who that is, Ian Flynn was one of the head writers of the Archie Sonic comic series. As of late, he's moved to the new Sonic the Hedgehog comic being published by IDW, and he's even been hired by SEGA to write an official encyclopedia on the video game Sonic canon. During the later years before and after the Archie comics got cancelled, Ian had the final say regarding the comic lore. Of course, you could always ask other writers for their input on who would win between Game Sonic and Archie Sonic, but just so happens that Ian was asked this question, and he had a pretty interesting response. On his Bumblekast forum, Ian was asked who would win in a fight between Archie Sonic and SEGA Sonic, with SEGA referring to Game Sonic. Ian's response was this: "I think it'd be a pretty even matchup, honestly. If you gave SEGA Sonic his full roster of moves throughout all the games, and likewise pulled out every trick Archie Sonic has used, I'd say they'd reach a stalemate." Basically, Ian believes that Game Sonic and Archie Sonic tie in a fight. This is a bit controversial considering how powerful we all know Archie Sonic is. And it's not like Ian Flynn doesn't know the comics for himself. He's even been responsible for some of the more broken feats that Archie Sonic pulled off. It's important to remember though, that even though the head of the Archie Sonic comics stated that they would tie in a fight, it doesn't mean that we can officially scale Game Sonic up to Archie Sonic's level. This is because Ian has no control over the game's story. He only has more leeway in the Archie and IDW series. Regardless, I want to see his logic. If we give each of them their full abilities, would it really end in a stalemate? Let's give it a fair analysis and see just how well SEGA Sonic fares up with Archie Sonic. Obviously, when you consider Sonic's greatest attribute, it would be his speed. The Saturday M show goes off the slogan of Sonic being the fastest thing alive. He's the fastest thing alive! And the Archie comics continue the slogan. This statement that originated from the American side of things also managed to make its way into the games, specifically in Sonic Riders, where Jet mocked Sonic for being called the fastest thing alive. But between Game Sonic and Archie Sonic, who's faster? Let's start with Archie Sonic. He's had several speed feats such as throwing a water ball in a few attoseconds, moving fast enough to appear in two places at the same time, and be able to run between raindrops without getting wet. It's been stated that he has enough speed to travel to every planet in the universe and be back by the end of the sentence that I just said. And this is definitely proven when he moves fast enough to visit over 1,000 universes in the span of a day, racing through the multiverse. Without even doing any calcs, you can tell this is already at least quintillions of times faster than the speed of light. Now, if you want to get into the territory of incalculable speed, Archie Sonic has been able to break through a time stop just by going fast. Such a feat is not quantifiable, and it can be implied to be an infinite speed feat, though it could have been an ant from Dr. Wily. Archie Sonic takes fastest thing alive to a whole new meaning. When you hear of all these amazing feats that Archie Sonic can do, you're probably wondering how SEGA Sonic is supposed to match up against that. People seem to already get triggered if you say that he's faster than light, so putting him in the millions range would seem like wank. Well, to put the "is Sonic faster than light" argument to rest, I'll share these with you. Exhibit A, the Japanese Sonic CD manual states that classic Sonic moves at light speed. Exhibit B, Sonic has a move called the Lightspeed Dash which allows him to rush at the speed of light. And Exhibit C, Omega states in Sonic Colors that Sonic could exceed light speed, and Sonic says that it's nothing to him. This is not even mentioning the official books that state Sonic is faster than light. I did even bring up the promotional materials such as Sonic being told to lay out the light speed in this ad.
Man, stay off the light speed!
My bad.
And the Sonic Unleashed advertisement that says he can move at the speed of light. But I digress. It's clear that lightspeed is nothing to Archie Sonic. So what can SEGA Sonic bring to the table? One thing that can put Game Sonic at a level of irrelevant speed would be, just like Archie Sonic, his time and space breaking feats. One example is in the Sonic Generations game, where the plot is that Classic and Mario Sonic have to accelerate to restore time and space, which is something that isn't really quantifiable. On another note, we have instances of Sonic using his speed to travel to other dimensions such as a special stage zone, as well as escaping an infinite void, though he did that with a partner. If we really want to highball Game Sonic, we can claim that these feats are infinite speed, which would match up with Archie Sonic, therefore making it a fair fight in that aspect. But ultimately, Archie Sonic is the faster Hedgehog. Both Game and Archie Sonic have tanked some heavy hits. I've talked a little bit about Game Sonic's durability in other videos, but I'll put the gist of it here. He could take hits from Dr. Eggman's Death Egg robot, which had absorbed life from the planet. This energy likely includes the energy from Dark Gaia and Light Gaia, who who are at least planetary due to the mere awakening of dark guys splitting the planet. Sonic also defeated the Ilford Golem, which is stated to have enough power to burn the whole world into nothing. In the same game, he tanks hits from Raisin Jin, who is absorbing the entire Arabian Nights universe. And yes, this universe is large enough because we know that there's an extra dimension inside of it, which is stated to be an infinite space. Lastly, he can take damage from Infinite, who could create an infinite void known as null space. So, what does this mean? Could I be implying that Game Sonic has universal durability in base form? Well, considering all the feats that I presented, it wouldn't be out of the question to consider him having universal durability. Now, Archie Sonic's case for durability is a little different. For starters, he could tank a black hole implosion that would have engulfed the star system, putting him at solar system level. He's taken hits from reality warpers such as Mogul, who was able to destroy universes with just a grip of his hand. Also, he fought against Robotnik, who had absorbed the power of the Ultimate Annihilator, a weapon that could weaken and destroy universes. So, it looks like Ian was right in this aspect. Game Sonic and Archie Sonic tie in durability. Many of the feats that I mentioned in the durability section can also apply to SEGA Sonic and Archie Sonic's power. With that being said, Game Sonic potentially has universal power. Now, I know this sounds pretty controversial to say, but the battles against Raisin Jin and Infinite still hold up. People may argue that there's no evidence of how much power Raisin Jin really had at the moment he fought Sonic, but there actually is. You see that it stated that Jin had already absorbed half of the Arabian Nights. This could put Sonic at potentially half of Universal, but you have to realize that this world had dimensions inside of it as well, such as the infinite space that I already mentioned. Of course, at the same time, we have to realize that Raisin Jin was destroying the world gradually, so it might be a gradual feat which wouldn't make it fully universal. Regardless, this is Game Sonic's base power at its highest if you include Infinite. Likewise, Archie Sonic scales to the feats already brought up in the durability section. It's also important to know that this Sonic scales to Knuckles, who was stated to be a living Chaos Emerald at one point. Chaos Emeralds not only have infinite power, but just one of them is enough to warp a whole universe, as seen with the first Genesis wave that Dr. Eggman performed. We also have the feat we talked about before with him tanking Mogul's blast, which could have been universal. However, Sonic has never really defeated Mogul in full-on combat before. With this in mind, we only really have the Ultimate Annihilator feat and the Knuckles scaling to put base Archie Sonic at universal. Therefore, for both combatants, their power is around universal, so they surprisingly tie in this aspect as well. Sometimes, speed, power, and durability aren't enough to determine who would win a fight. Skills are very significant, and Game Sonic has his own set of abilities. For starters, we can already conclude that both SEGA and Archie Sonic can do the traditional moveset, which would be the spin jump, spin dash, super peel out, and homing attack. Let's look at combat then. Sonic has a moveset based on breakdancing in the Sonic Battle game, implementing his supersonic speed into his attacks. He's so skilled in combat that he could defeat Emerald, a robot that has the abilities of all Sonic's friends. Let's also take a look at the power-ups that Game Sonic can use in this fight. We have the multiple shields with them each having different elemental states. We have the Wisp aliens which have a variety of abilities, and there's also the invincibility power-up which both protects Sonic and kills any foe that touches it. The Magic Hands is a power-up that puts his enemies inside of destructive orbs. If we want to look at some of his other hacks powers, we can find his move called Ring Time, which can turn any enemy in the vicinity into a ring. Lastly, Sonic has the Boost, which can give him a force field and knock out any obstacle in his way. It's basically a super fast and supercharged beam. In terms of combat skills, he scales to Sally and Knuckles, who are both proficient in martial arts. He can scale to Scourge as well, who is able to take over his entire planet. But if we give him his power-ups, Archie Sonic takes the cake. He has the Power Rings, which can increase his strength, absorb attacks, heal himself, give him knowledge, and even grant wishes. Technically speaking, he could wish for SEGA Sonic to lose, but that's not really something that any Sonic would do. One of Archie Sonic's biggest trump cards though is the Sword of Acorns. This sword was made out of the Source of All, which is what created his multiverse. This multiverse is infinite, by the way. Using the sword can allow Laser to absorb all the energy of beings such as Enerjack, who on his own was nearly omnipotent, only limited by his imagination. It can also breach dimensions and even higher planes of existence such as the Chaos Force. This sword can even give insight into the past, present, and future, so we could see Game Sonic's attacks coming. Of course, you could argue that Sonic has only used it a few times, and maybe some instances with the sword might work better on different users, but remember, even Flynn is saying that we should give each character all of their respective items, and that would have to include the Sword of Acorns. With that being said, Archie Sonic wins in this aspect. Lastly, let's take a look at the most powerful power-up of them all, the Chaos Emeralds, giving both of them their super forms. Whenever there's a final boss, a super transformation always comes in handy. In video game Sonic's case, he tends to use it a lot, and it grants him power that far surpasses his own. For one, he's granted the ability to fly at incredibly fast speeds. In Sonic Rush, Super Sonic and Burning Blaze fly fast enough to reach a rift between their universes, and it looks like they're flying past several stars, making Super Sonic massively faster than light. Even if you disregard this feat, in Sonic Colors, Super Sonic is flying past hundreds of stars. In terms of durability, Super Sonic is invulnerable. It's rare to see him get hurt. In terms of power, Super Sonic has taken on beings that can destroy multiple universes. These beings include the Egg Salamander, the Egg Wizard, and most significant, Solaris. Solaris was a super-dimensional being that would have destroyed every single timeline and time itself. There isn't evidence supporting there being infinite timelines, but we do know that there are several billions of worlds thanks to the Imaginary World, which holds dimensions for every creature that can dream. That's pretty insane if you ask me. Archie Sonic is known for being overpowered in his base form, but some of his most prominent feats come from his super form. In the past, it was stated that Super Sonic increases base Sonic's power by 1,000-fold, but he's gotten stronger since then. Super Sonic can take out multiversal beings such as Master Mogul, who would have destroyed the entire multiverse, Enerjack, who is nigh omnipotent and could also destroy universes, and Sigma, who has gained the power of infinite worlds and multiverses. The best feat that Super Sonic has done would be accidentally destroying his multiverse when he was distracted. This includes the Chaos Force, which is a higher dimensional plane and is responsible for the most powerful beings in the world. And like I said before, his multiverse is confirmed to be limitless. With all these in mind, it's safe to say that Archie Sonic wins in terms of super forms because of the sheer size of his world. I didn't even mention his wish-granting ability, in which he could warp his multiverse to be whatever he wanted to be. In theory, he wouldn't even need the power rings to grant wishes, he can simply reality warp. Archie Supersonic wins here. Let's take a look at our results. In speed, Archie Sonic wins due to his display of feats like running through the multiverse. In durability, Archie and Game Sonic tie. In power, Archie and Game Sonic tie as well. In skills and arsenal, Archie Sonic wins because of his access to power rings and the Sword of Acorns. And in super forms, Archie Supersonic wins because of his complex multiversal power and his ability to rewrite reality on a multiversal scale. All of this makes me believe that despite what Ian Flynn believes, Archie Sonic would win in a fight against SEGA Sonic. If you guys disagree with me with some of these points that I made, make sure to leave a comment with your opinion. If you want to debate more directly, you can reach me at my Discord server, which I'll link in the description. And if you want to see more power scaling, make sure to check out my Sonic Discussions playlist. I hope you guys have a great week, and be cool, be wild, and be groovy.